Let's talk about methods of persuasion. My name is Mr. Matthew Larson. Going to be doing this for students to understand how you can use methods of persuasion in advertisement for a language and literature class. Information here was modified and adapted from Indeed.com. You can see that down below if you'd like to go to the original link. So let's get right into this. First off, what are methods of persuasion? Methods of persuasion are simply psychological tools which can be used to influence others. Now, why do we use these? Because we want to make a business sell. We want to get people to vote for us. We want to make sure that we are getting people to like what we're writing, giving us money, or believing what we are doing. So these are used in different things. You can see there: politics, sales, copywriting, fundraising, and journalism. It's simply a way of convincing another person that what we're doing and what we're asking, they're going to agree to. It does use psychology in here as well, so it's not necessarily manipulation. It's more of using our own brains as human individuals and getting that information and using that information to help us get the objective that we want. Now, the first thing you can do is focus on mutual beliefs. This is simply where you find commonalities with the audience. So you might start talking to someone and find out that you went to the same school. That's a commonality that you both have. Maybe you both have the same name. It can be something that simple. Maybe you both like the same sports team. These are different things that you can say that make you and this other person have something in common. Now, this is important because it's going to make them more receptive to whatever it is you are going to be asking about or asking for. You want to really focus on points of agreement when you're using mutual beliefs, and you want to find things that you agree with them, even if you disagree on other things. So don't focus on what you have that's not in common. Focus on what you both agree on, and it's going to help you when it comes to mutual beliefs. What you can do is address the objections that the person might have early. This is also known as the even if technique. So even if you don't like this, here's why you should still do what I'm saying. So you want to stop and think, what might people disagree with that you are trying to sell them on? So an objection to a subscription program for a workout might be a lack of time. So I'd love to sign up for your gym, but I don't have enough time. So if you are the person who's selling this gym membership, you might want to say it's still effective, even if you don't have a ton of time. With just 20 minutes a day, here's what can happen. So you want to think about what people might say that makes them go against what you're asking for, and then you're going to use this information to help them agree. You can also appeal to a perceived need. Under here, you want to give credibility to whatever it is you're proposing. So, hey, if you do this, you're going to have love. If you do this, you're going to have the shelter, you're going to have food, and you're going to have self-actualization. So this ability to really rise above and to be the greatest version of yourself. You want to find something and make sure that what you're giving the person is something they need. Even if it's something that they might not actually need, if you convince them that they do need it, you're going to be a good position right there. You also want to create a perception of popularity. Simply put, people are more receptive to use whatever you're trying to get them to use or to do whatever you're trying to get them to do if other people are doing it too. This comes down to the human's desire to naturally conform. We don't want to be odd and standing out. We want to find a way to sit in with other people and conform with other people. This method of persuasion allows you to do that. It encourages trust and acceptance because others have already seen what's going on and they agree. Therefore, you can go with it too. People can use things like 5-star reviews. You can advertise that thousands of customers have stated this. A customer testimonial. The simple thing right through here is you want to make sure that the people who you are trying to convince have seen that others agree that this product or this thing is good. Examples of people who can do this: influencers on social media, television spokespeople, recognizing personalities. So you might get like Lionel Messi to come up and say like, hey, I endorse this product. 9 out of 10 dentists agree that this is the best toothpaste. You simply want to create a sense of acceptance that the general population agrees with this. You want to create an idea that the product, the opinion, whatever it is you're trying to convince other people about, that thing is popular. Trying to convince other people, it is also important to choose your words carefully. Words have a significant impact on perception. So make sure that you are using words that will get people to do what you want and not turn them off to what you're trying to make or convince them of. Descriptive imagery is going to be important. So you're describing exactly what something's like. Like imagine sitting on this warm beach with the sand between your toes and the sound of the waves crashing in on the beach. You want to use favorable connotations. So things just like grandma's cooking, something that makes people think back to good times and makes them reminisce. That's going to help right through here. This is going to produce positive reactions, and it can influence behavior. You're going to use phrases like all natural, it's a great value, or new and improved, under new management, anything like that that can be used to help people understand why they should be supporting or agreeing to whatever it is you're doing. You can also imply scarcity. This is when you're saying that there's going to be a limited availability. So there's only so much of this product that's out there. If you don't act now, you're not going to get it. People, if they think there is a scarcity or that they're not going to be able to get something in the future, they're more likely to take it now. So you can use words like, it's the end of the sale, so if you don't do it now, it's going to cost you more money. Low in stock, we're almost out, you need to come get this now, or we're only selling this one time. If you don't get it now, you're not going to get it again. Limited runs are helpful in that as well. Simply implying that supplies are decreasing encourages individuals to act impulsively. When you're acting impulsively, you don't really think things through and you make the sale or you agree to what someone's trying to persuade you of right from the start. You can also provide a reason as to why this person or the people you're trying to convince should do what you're asking them. Using things like because is helpful because it gives you a reason. This reason may influence the perception that the request you are asking is actually reasonable. It's not outlandish. It makes sense that you can ask them to do this. Example of this could be saying, if you're selling sunscreen, that, hey, because it's scorching hot and because summer's coming, you really want to buy my sunscreen. It makes it more reasonable for people to think I'm going to be buying that sunscreen compared to saying, hey, you're going to go to Lapland up in northern Finland in the middle of December. You don't really have a lot of sun, but really buy my sunscreen, right? It's going to be harder to make that sale. You want to provide a good reason. It's also important to generate anticipation. This is good because it keeps the person's attention. You're going to create suspense. You're going to pose a question. When's the last time you felt really happy, right? Something like that. When's the last time you watched a really good movie? Thinking back to the past, trying to make them think and anticipate something good is coming. You can also leave a story unfinished, which leaves them wanting more. When they want more, they're going to keep talking to you, and therefore you're going to have a better chance of convincing them. This builds excitement and encourages people to spend more time interacting. The more time you spend interacting, the more likely they are to agree. People are naturally curious. This technique of persuasion uses this natural curiosity to influence what they are going to be doing. You can also do something called starting small, which is known as the foot in the door approach. Under this approach, you ask for something simple that people are more likely to agree to. So, hey, come sit in my office, we can talk from here. Or, hey, could you hold this thing for me right through here? By doing this, it causes people to relax, and therefore they are more persuadable and more receptive to the idea that you are trying to sell them on. Alternative of this is the exact opposite, where you start large. So you make an incredibly unreasonable request, and this is good because is going to alter their perceptions. So they might think like you're trying to sell, say you're trying to sell someone a can of Coke, right? And they're going to come in and say, hey, I'll sell you this can of Coke for $16. And immediately they're going to look at you like, that is ridiculous. You are crazy. And now if you say something like, okay, fine, I'll give it to you for $4, right? They're more willing to pay that $4 because $4 is significantly better than $6. So it makes the smaller request you're asking for seem more reasonable compared to going in right from the start and saying, hey, I'll give you $4. They're probably not going to agree to that, but they might do it for $1.50. So you start large. Okay, examples of this again, when you're selling something, you're going to start with an incredibly high, unreasonable price. You know they're not going to accept it, and that is the goal. You simply want them to agree to something smaller. You can also lead by example. So offer to help. Hey, I'll do this for you if you can do this back for me. Example of this again, saying, hey, I'm going to make you a special discount, right? For you, you're very nice. I like you. You're my friend. I'm going to do this for you. You came into my shop. I'm going to give this thing to you right through here. Or, I like your shirt. You have the same sports team as me. I'm going to give you a discount because of that. Notice in that example I just gave, you're also using the finding commonalities, which is important because if you can combine multiple of these, you're even more likely to convince someone of this. So you can see right here, leading by examples, doing a favor for someone, any of these things right here, making them want to agree with you. You can also generate connection, so people are more willing to listen to someone they like, right? Let's just think, for example, the classes that you sit through with the teachers you like. You probably listen to the teacher more than the classes you have to sit through with the teacher you cannot stand. So if you generate connection, people are more likely to like you. They're more likely to agree with what you're saying. So you want to cultivate or create an environment of friendliness. You can do this by giving eye contact, complimenting the person you're talking to, finding things that you both have in common. Again, tying back to a different method of persuasion, and just genuinely being yourself. Be authentic. Don't lie. Don't make stuff up. Just be real. And if you're real, people will tend to agree with you more. So for example, a real estate client, someone who's selling a home or a property, is going to try to talk about this property being really good. The schools in this area are really, really nice. My kids go to the school. They love it. Therefore, you're going to have a really good time with your kids going to this school as well. Something to get them to be more likable. If you can get people to like you, you're more likely to convince them. Another thing you can do is establish authority. So you explain why listening to me is a good idea. You want to provide detailed information, so show that you really understand what you're talking about, because you have people who agree with you right through them. So for example, you're talking about health advice. You're going to say like, hey, here's what doctors recommend. If you're talking about healthy eating and stuff, it's going to make more sense coming from a doctor than a banker who has no real authority in this situation. So you want to make sure people who are talking about you are understanding what they're talking about. If people believe that the person who's stating this actually understands what they're talking about, has the authority to speak, you're going to be more willing to listen to them and more willing to agree. You can also eliminate risks, which is getting rid of any possible risk that the person who would be agreeing to what you're asking for would have. You can eliminate the risks, even if they are perceived risks, right? So whether or not the risk is true, if the person you're trying to convince agrees that it's true, they're not going to agree to the thing as likely. So you want to give things like money back guarantees, positive testimonials. Hey, this person has stated this. They really like it. You want to give them more education about what you're trying to sell and convince them of, because then they're not going to be as convinced about losing their money, getting into a risky situation. They're more likely to agree with you. You also want to give something like a small incentive to make someone think they're getting a good idea. So, hey, if you do this, come into my shop, I'll give you a cup of tea, then we can talk, right? So that incentive is the cup of tea, particularly if it's a cold day and the tea is really good. Little things like that. Talk about, hey, if it doesn't work, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee return, anything like this, which makes them more willing to do business and to be convinced what you're trying to convince them of. You want to really show them that the positives of doing what you're asking is going to outweigh the risk. And you can do is to create an emotional response. Now, this is when you use specific imagery to influence the behavior. So for example, if you're trying to get people to donate money to a dog shelter, you're going to show a bunch of pictures of sad dogs who just want to be adopted, because that's sad. Everyone wants to agree and make the dogs happy. Therefore, you're going to be more likely to get what you want. This can be provocative. You can use controversial ideas. That's going to influence the emotional response of individuals. People who are acting on emotion tend not to be so rational, and therefore it's easier to convince them of what you're trying to do. So talking about like a lawn care product, you might want to show pictures of a just totally out of control yard. So the grass is really high, the weeds are everywhere. You're like, you don't want this. This looks really bad. Imagine how your neighbors are going to feel if they have to wake up and look out the window and see that every day. You want to create that emotional response and get them to agree with what you're saying because of that. You can also appeal to the individual. So when you write in second point of view, this is largely done in writing, saying, hey, if you do this, this, right? In conversations, you're using the words you. So you really like this. If you do this, this is what you can get from here. You're making it about the person you're trying to convince, which makes it more personable. More personable makes it more relatable. When it's more relatable, they're more willing to agree with what you're doing. There you go. Comments, questions, please do let me know. If you'd like a written version of this, again, the link at the beginning is a good place to go for that. I hope this made sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Good luck.